On more than half the cattle ranches left in America, it costs more to raise a calf than that calf will ever sell for. The national herd has fallen from 132 million to fewer than 88 million. Nearly 40% of the producers still doing this work are over 65. The question isn't why nobody wants to ranch anymore, it's whether anyone who does can afford to. The institutional record, preserved in the National Archives and mid-century agricultural films, reveals a baseline of post-war expansion. From the 1940s through the 1970s, the introduction of gasoline-powered tractors, automated feed systems, and permanent wire fencing changed daily routines. This transition reduced the reliance on hired hand labor, shifting operations toward higher capital investment. By 1975, the national cattle inventory peaked at approximately 132 million head. By 2022, that total fell to fewer than 88 million. But animal counts only tell part of the story. The number of individual farms tells another. In 2022, the agricultural census counted 622,162 farms with at least one beef cow, representing a 15% decline in beef cow operations from 2017 to 2022. Among those remaining, the vast majority are small. 79% of these farms run fewer than 50 cows, and 55% operate with fewer than 20. These figures clarify a fundamental shift in the industry. While total inventory numbers fluctuate with market cycles, the farm counts show a steady consolidation into larger concentrated operations. The archives do not prove that earlier generations enjoyed guaranteed prosperity, but they show a time when the labor was distributed across hundreds of thousands of small, family-run pastures. Consider a single small pasture, 20 breeding cows grazing 250 acres. This is a cow-calf operation where a rancher maintains mother cows solely to raise and sell their calves each year. The kitchen table ledger exposes the math. Feed, veterinary care, mineral tubs, fencing wire, water system upkeep, equipment depreciation, insurance, interest, taxes, and labor must all be paid. Over the last 5 years, these per-head costs rose 29%. The 10-year operating average sits at $602 per cow, excluding pasture rent. In the 2025 pasture-inclusive scenario, that figure climbs to $1,059 per head. When a calf sells for a conservative $600, the economic reality hardens. An operator with inherited land has a distinct financial basis, but those facing a pasture mortgage with interest or paying leased grazing expenses quickly run out of options. There is no cushion for equipment failures or dry wells. Cash costs and land charges eat up any economic profit, leaving a thin per-head margin that cannot sustain a household. At the local sale barn, under hand-painted signs, these small lots of cattle enter the larger beef system. These auction rings serve as the primary price discovery points for families trying to hold on. The gavel falls. During 2020 and 2021, an exceptional drought settled over the southern plains. Before the land could fully recover, a second dry cycle took hold of the central Great Plains from 2022 through 2023. The USDA linked a 2.5% decline in the national beef cow inventory directly to drought-related destocking. Destocking is the process of reducing herd size when the forage and stock water cannot support them. It begins with shifting cattle to lower the grazing pressure, but quickly escalates. Ranchers must buy supplemental feed at high prices and haul water in truck-mounted tanks. When the money runs thin, they sell calves early. The deepest damage occurs when they are forced to sell off breeding stock, which permanently reduces future herd capacity. Yet, even under this heavy operational pressure, cow-calf pairs are managed carefully and kept healthy. The toll is taken elsewhere. It shows in the cracked clay of dry stock tanks, the empty pastures, and the physical decay of the property. Weathered barns age without repair, corrals and wire fences rust, and older water systems fail as groundwater levels drop. This temporary destocking is a survival strategy, not yet a permanent liquidation of the legacy. But as the dry months stretch into years, the physical and financial wear leaves these small pastures quiet and vulnerable. To understand the pressure on the herd, one has to look at how this ground is classified. Farmland includes everything from active crops to woodlots. Grazing land is a broader category, which in 2017 covered about 805 million acres across the country. Roughly 82% of that grazing footprint was native rangeland, mostly uncultivated wild grasses. The rest is managed pasture, planted with specific forage, which has seen a steady acreage decline since the early 2000s as other uses creep in. Between 2012 and 2020, approximately 424,000 acres of farmland were directly sited for wind energy projects. Solar installations have grown too, with about 70% of utility-scale solar farms built on agricultural land. While an economic research service study notes that roughly 90% of the surrounding acreage remains agricultural after development, the practical reality of grazing changes. Direct project footprints, gravel access roads, new fencing, and parcel fragmentation can carve up contiguous acreage, quietly disrupting the natural movement of cattle. Outside of energy, residential subdivisions are expanding. In these local counties, developers, local planning officials, and neighboring landowners are all driving a transition. Subdivisions raise land values far beyond what cattle revenue can justify. When pasture becomes too expensive to lease or buy, the open range is slowly divided, leaving the remaining cattle operations isolated in a landscape of competing interests. Nearly 40% of all cattle producers are 65 or older, and the average age of an operator has climbed to 58.1. Only 9% are under 35. While the agricultural census counted 1,011,715 beginning producers in 2022, representing 30% of all operators. These are not necessarily young faces. A beginning producer is defined as having 10 or fewer years of experience, and their average age is 47.1. The terms beginning producer and young producer are not interchangeable, and the division between them is critical. Entering this field from the outside means facing immense barriers: high land prices, tight credit, a scarcity of suitable acreage, and the cost of capital assets. Even for those with an existing family holding, succession is a complex test. True succession is the transfer of land, knowledge, and decision-making authority. But it also means verifying whether the older equipment, water access, livestock, debt load, labor, and dependable income are actually there to sustain a household. Land access programs in approximately 20 states provide some assistance, but this growth in beginning producers does not ensure viable ranch access. When these transfers fail and ranches are sold, the consequences ripple through local service networks and community participation. Volunteer fire departments, local school boards, open spaces, and rural landscape continuity all depend on these families. This lifestyle holds personal meaning and cultural importance, yet the economic path is narrowing. The struggle is not a literal absence of interest. People still want to work the ground. The real question is who can afford to take it over. We ain't just losing pastures, we're losing the folks who know how to tend them. Once that final gate swings shut, a piece of our soul goes quiet forever. If the rancher disappears, the land goes with him. Share your thoughts below.